Diary of a Wimpy Zombie. Kids' stories from the zombie apocalypse. Kids' adventure stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Do you like zombie stories? Then this zombie story will interest you a lot. Zombies are coming from everywhere as the main characters, Sander and Sally, combine forces to defeat an evil army of biting monsters. They have been fighting for days, so where is the rescue already? But one of the zombies is different. There is something about him that almost appears to be human. Discover the secret of the zombie apocalypse with Sander, Sally, and an unusual zombie they meet. Curious? Go ahead and begin reading now. Chapter 1. Kill them now. This is it. We can't hold them back much longer, Sally said. Just keep shooting them, Sander yelled in despair. There has to be a way out. Sander and Sally were driven into a corner. The hordes of zombies were running at them, drooling and bleeding along the way, making gruesome noises and frightening movements. Sander had a machine gun, a simple but effective AK-47, and Sally had a huge shotgun. Both of them were firing away at the approaching creatures, reloading and shouting for courage. Sander was wearing his hat backwards, and Sally had a small backpack on her back. Well, where is it then? I don't see a way out, do you? Sally yelled. Sander looked around for a minute. There, he said, the vent! With that being said, Sander and Sally turned around and jumped into the vent, crawling through the eerie space that could give any person a claustrophobic heart attack. Go, go, go! Sander shouted as he watched Sally go first. Although he didn't want to be an annoyance, he wished she would crawl a little faster. They were stuck in a high school. After the disease pretty much took over Fang City, they fled to the supermarket, looted whatever they could, and set up camp in the high school classrooms thinking that they were safe. And they were, for a while, until they were discovered. This teaches us to be more careful when we go out next time, Sander said. Hey, just because there happened to be a zombie in the ladies' bathroom doesn't mean this is all my fault, okay? Sally said in frustration. I am not saying that. I am just expressing my worry about the next hiding place we find. We need to become more secluded and wait out the end of this episode of terror. The zombies are everywhere, and we can't afford to take risks, Sander added. Well, what do you suggest? Sally asked. A bank. Find supplies and hide in the bank vault, for now, until we find something better. Sounds good, but let's get out of here first. I think I already killed about 20 in a few minutes, but they keep coming, said Sally. Let's take the emergency exit, and then just follow me. I know the quickest way to get there, Sander explained. Yep. Sally left the building as fast as she could, followed by Sander. They blocked the exit and ran off through the alleys. Did we lose them? Sally asked, panting and trying to catch her breath. I think so. Let's keep running until we are there, Sander answered. Easy for you to say. You were a basketball player. I was part of the chess club, Sally said. Ha ha! I thought chess was a sport. That's what you told me. Yes, but I am tired. Can we pause for a few seconds? Okay, Sander answered, but no more. We need to get to a safe area. After a quick pause, Sander and Sally ran into the closest bank. They quietly opened the door and held their guns in front of them, making sure the environment was safe. They slowly moved towards the vault. Locked. Right, genius. How do we open it? Sally asked. The code has to be around here somewhere. I mean, everyone is gone. Aha, this must be it. Let's try it. Sander tried to open the vault, but it wouldn't budge. There was no way of opening it. He tugged and pulled with all his might and started kicking it in frustration. Hey, take it easy, Sally said. That's not going to help. Let's go to Plan B. What is Plan B? Sander asked. We can find a bomb shelter. Some of these houses have one. They were built during the Cold War, so they must have something. Sander agreed, and they left the bank. They saw some money lying on the floor, but money was no good here. There went that idea. "Watch out!" Sally screamed. Sander turned around and shot a zombie in the chest. "Tack-a-tack-a-tack!" His machine gun fired a few rounds, all precise hits. "Thanks. Now let's get moving." Sander and Sally came to the old part of town. They knew there might be a higher risk of encounters with zombies, but Sally's idea about the bomb shelter actually wasn't bad. After searching through several homes, they found one with a basement. It was great because it had a food storage, comfortable couches, a bed, and enough space to move around. "Ah," Sally said in satisfaction as she fell on the bed. "This is what I am talking about." Finally, they were safe, or so they thought. Chapter 2. Let's Get Out. Sander and Sally stayed in the bomb shelter for 5 days. They opened cans of food, ate the leftovers, and read some of the books that were on the shelves. The only thing that almost became a problem was that there was only one bed. Clearly, this shelter was made for married couples, but Sander and Sally were not even in a relationship. Sander was 16. He had been a sports fanatic, always trying to be the best at everything. His whole life, he had spent countless hours practicing basketball shots, attempting to dunk, and playing non-stop with his friends. Sally was 14. She secretly had a crush on Sander, but he was too ignorant to notice. Sally always looked up to him, although there was no need to. Sally was extremely intelligent. She had won chess tournaments, built her own websites, and learned how to make money online. She usually had high grades in school and studied world history and geography. If there was any location in the world you would bring up, she could tell you something about it. But now they were stuck together, something that Sally didn't mind. Sander, however, was focused on survival and didn't even want to get close. Yes, Sally was attractive, but his mind was on other things. Besides, she was his best friend. It would be so weird to take it any further, right? That's what he thought, at least. "I am glad the toilet works," Sally said. "Could you imagine being here without a bathroom?" "Yes," Sander said. "But we are running out of food. I have to go get some at the convenience store across the street. I know there is some over there. I saw it when we came here." "Please be careful," Sally said. "We don't want to alarm anyone. Nobody can know we are here." "No worries," Sander answered nonchalantly. "I'll be back before you can blink your eyes." As Sander took off, Sally feared the worst. They had felt safe before, only to wake up by a few zombie hordes and having to run for their lives. Sander took his AK-47 and pointed it in front of him. With every quiet move he made, he squinted his eyes and concentrated as hard as he could to see if there was any movement. He exited the house they were hiding in and walked across the street as quietly as he could, until... What was that? Sander thought nervously. Nothing. Or... wait... Wah! He heard an ugly zombie cry out. It was coming right at him. Sander didn't hesitate and shot it immediately. Bullseye! But the sound set a disaster in motion. Suddenly, dozens of zombies came running at him from around the corners of the surrounding streets. "Oh no, what did I do?" Sander said as he backed up and kept firing at them. He was outnumbered. There was nothing he could do but go back downstairs and hide. "Open up! Hurry!" Sander shouted. Sally opened the hatch. "Did you get the food?" "No time for questions! Let me in and shut the hatch! Quickly!" Sander climbed down the ladder when he felt a tug on his shirt. "Wow! Let go!" Sally climbed up and punched the zombie in the face. "Take that, ugly head!" The zombie let go and Sander safely got down. The hatch was closed, but now what? They were stuck. The zombies had discovered their hideout. There was nowhere to go. They had no food or drink. They had shelter, but they wouldn't survive for very long, and the only way out seemed blocked by zombies. They had to get out somehow and add to their limited supplies. If only there was a way to sneak past them. Sally buried her head in her hands and cried, "How long is this going to go on? How long can we survive this? Is there any hope?" Now, Sander said calmly and courageously. "We will find a way. We always do." He put his arm around her. That was enough. She felt safe. Not that she tried to make him do that on purpose, but it was convenient for now. Chapter 3. The Start. The apocalypse? It all started when they were in school. The bell rang. Ring! "Finally, I am so done with school," Sander said to one of his friends. "Hi, Professor Krieger. Anything new today? Invented a time machine? Cured cancer?" one of Sander's friends said mockingly. "Go home, boy," Professor Krieger responded as he walked along. Sander's friends started laughing. That Professor Krieger, such a nut job. Always in his own little world, experimenting with this or that. One time, they remembered, he invented soap that would glow in the dark. He was so excited about it and presented it to the class. When someone turned the lights off, the soap became black and was less visible than anything or anyone else in the room. Another time, he claimed he had an instant cure for fever, making it so that the body's temperature would rise immediately when taking one pill. When a guy at school tried the pill, he had the flu for 5 days and had to stay home. Sander felt a little bad that Professor Krieger had become such a bullied teacher, but in a way, he was such a weirdo that it was to be expected in the first place. As Sander walked home, he bumped into Sally. "Hi," Sally said shyly. "How are you?" Sander asked. "Good, and you?" Sally said with a smile. "Fine," Sander said as he was about to walk away. "Listen, Sander, I was wondering if—" But before she could finish her sentence, they heard a loud boom coming from the school building. The entire floor was shaking for a second because of the explosion. People started running everywhere. What's going on over there?" Sally asked. "I don't know. Want to go see?" "Let's go," Sander said enthusiastically. Sally followed Sander to the school. When they came closer, they saw a lot of people gathered in the hallway and the chemistry classroom. They were in a pretty happy mood after such a dramatic noise. Everybody was laughing. When they weaved their way through the people watching, Sander and Sally watched Professor Krieger trying to clean up glass, burnt fluids, and substances on the floor of the room. Obviously, he had experimented with something and failed tremendously. "Poor Professor Krieger," Sally said. "You are right, but it actually is kind of funny," Sander said, as he couldn't hold in his laughter completely. Sander and Sally each went their separate ways. Sally never finished her sentence. She didn't get around to asking Sander what she wanted. The next day was supposed to be a regular school day. Both of them went to the chemistry class. That was their first class. They were early. It was a beautiful day. It would be another 15 minutes before the rest of the class would show up. "Hey, decided to be early?" Sander asked Sally as he saw her walking into the classroom. "I guess we had the same idea," Sally answered. But when they entered the classroom, they saw Professor Krieger lying on the floor. There were glass urns and bottles everywhere. There was a certain smell to the room they couldn't put their finger on, and there were papers all over the desk with formulas and scribbling in a weird handwriting. "Professor, are you all right?" Sally asked when she came closer. "Professor?" Suddenly the professor looked up. Those eyes! Sally got startled and stepped back. The professor's eyes were green inside, and the bags under his eyes were gloomy and creepy. His whole face had somewhat degenerated and was wrinkled 10 times more than before. He was drooling a bit, and his hair was messed up. "Professor, what's going on? What is wrong with you?" Sally asked again, but she wasn't sure if she should stick around. "Let's go. We'll tell the other teachers," Sander said as he backed out towards the exit. Sander and Sally ran through the hallways. They told the teachers something was wrong with Professor Krieger. The teachers said they should stay in the teachers' room. They waited and waited and waited. Then they heard noises. Lots of scary noises. Screaming and growling and panting. "Let's lock the door," Sander said. "I don't trust this one bit." They locked the door and watched through the window. Suddenly, they saw dozens of people coming through the doors in the lunch area. They were in panic. They were injured. Or so it seemed. No, they were sick and aggressive. What was going on? Sander had always played zombie video games. He came to a quick conclusion. "They are zombies! They have to be! It's real! There are real zombies!" he yelled. "Let's get out of here as soon as we can!" Then they heard gunshots. Bang! Bang! Taka-taka-taka-taka! They watched as 2 police officers with heavy armory entered the lunchroom, killing zombies as they moved forward. This went on for about 20 seconds, until every zombie was dead on the floor. "Hey!" the officers shouted as they waved to Sander and Sally. "Are you kids okay?" Sander gave him a thumbs up. "We'll get you out of there," one of them said. The officers came to the door. Sander and Sally opened the door. "Let's go. It's mayhem out there," one of the officers said. But then something terrible happened. Both officers got attacked from behind. 2 zombies were simultaneously biting each officer, making them drop their guns. Sander and Sally stepped back. They watched in horror for 2 seconds because they didn't know what to do. Then Sander made a decision. He saw it was going nowhere. These officers were as good as dead. He stepped forward, picked up the 2 guns, and closed the door. "What? Why did you do that?" Sally yelled in panic. They were dead anyway," Sander said with a shaky voice. "There was nothing we could do. We have to defend ourselves now." "Are you crazy? I never used a gun before," Sally shouted back. "It's easy," Sander said. "I've seen it in movies so many times that I'm pretty sure that I know what I'm doing." And that's how they got stuck at the high school. Chapter 4. Lots of Zombies. Back to the bomb shelter. Sally fell asleep in Sander's arms. They were both exhausted from all the running, shooting, panicking, and the lack of food and water. Sander woke up with a jolt. After a deep, quick nap, he suddenly realized the situation they were in. He got up and started planning out their escape route. Sally was still asleep. She could sleep through anything, he noticed. The last chocolate bar from her backpack was gone. He saw her eat it before they fell asleep, and it was now empty. "Okay," he thought out loud. "If we reach the supermarket, we could maybe find some food there. We'll use our school backpacks and fill them up with stuff. Then we get out of there. But where?" He thought for a moment. "Maybe we just need to find a car and drive out of the city. That would probably be best. If we can get out of town, we could find a place with more people who haven't turned into zombies yet." As he was pondering his plan, Sally woke up. "What? Where? How?" she asked in panic. "It's okay. We are safe for now," Sander said, calming her down. "Let's leave when you're ready. We have to get some supplies and then find a vehicle to leave town." After 20 minutes of getting ready, Sander and Sally opened the hatch, hoping that the zombies were gone. And they were. "We have to be as quiet as possible. The more noise we make, the higher the risk of having an entire horde storm at us," Sander whispered. They snuck through the city streets and came to the supermarket, avoiding the occasional zombie on their path. When they arrived, Sander and Sally simply went to the food section and found a whole bunch of canned food left behind. "Let's stuff these in our bags," Sander said. "That's the only way we'll be able to survive for a longer period of time." He thought for a second. "And make sure you get a can opener," he added. Yeah, that would be the day. Having a big food supply and nothing to open up the cans with. Sander and Sally put as many cans of food into their backpacks as they could. One of the cans of food rolled on the floor after Sally accidentally dropped it. "Whoops," she said. That should have been it. But the can rolled outside the supermarket doors and triggered the alarm. "Whee!" "Uh-oh," Sally uttered with a sheepish face. Within seconds, numerous zombies came running into the store. Sander and Sally ran as fast as their legs could carry them. There! Sander pointed at a small surveillance room. They entered the room and locked the door. That should keep them out for at least some time. Phew, that was a close call. I'm sorry, Sally said. It's okay. Everybody makes mistakes, Sander said. Hey, what's that? Chapter 5. One Particular Zombie. In the corner of the room stood a zombie that didn't look half as ugly as the other ones. He just looked at them, didn't move a muscle. It was as if he didn't even have the desire to attack them. Sander was about to shoot him, but then he hesitated. Notice how that zombie isn't even coming near us? He whispered to Sally. He doesn't have red eyes like the rest either. Hey you, he said to the zombie. Why aren't you attacking us? I am not like the rest, the zombie said. The zombie talked? Yes, it talked. Sally and Sander were pretty surprised. Explain what's going on here, or I will blow your head off, Sander said, as he and Sally pointed their guns at the zombie. Why aren't you like the rest, and how do we find a cure for this disease? My name is Kendro, the zombie said. I am immune and invisible to the zombies, but I need you to help me find the cure. I know it must be in the high school somewhere. The one who created it probably knew something about a cure. We'll get you there, Sander said courageously. Just let me kill these annoying creatures first. Sander loaded his weapon, and Sally loaded hers. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Wait, Kendro said. Look. He pointed at the cameras. They were still working. How convenient. Aha, Sander said. We can wait for them to move to different areas of the supermarket, and then we'll sneak out. We can observe everything in this control room. Thanks for the suggestion, Kendro. You are pretty smart. I know a lot more, Kendro said. I have been studying physics and chemistry for years. That's why I am confident we can find the solution to this disease in the school laboratories. We just have to get there, but I am too afraid to go by myself. That makes no sense, Sally said. If you are invisible to them and they won't eat you, then what makes you think you are in danger? I don't know that for sure, and there are still people out there hunting down the zombies, so they could shoot me too. I guess you're right. We'll help you out, Sally answered empathically. They waited for 2 hours. They saw the zombies move around on the cameras. In the meantime, Kendro explained to them how he didn't get affected in the same way. He had been in the school laboratory and had been exposed to the substance. All the other zombies were bitten. He had never been bitten, just got some of the toxic stuff on his skin and turned into a half zombie. But when all the zombies started showing up, he hid himself and ran away from the school. Sander and Sally listened attentively. After some time, they saw the area should be safe. Ready? Let's go, Sander commanded. Chapter 6. A Unique Team. They opened the squeaking door as silently as they could and snuck their way through the supermarket. Once they were outside, they had to determine whether to go through the park or through the city. Through the city is faster, Sander said. Yes, but for some reason I think we may find more zombies there too. I say let's try the park, Sally said. Neither, Kendro said. Listen, guys, I know how we can go underground and hit the sewers. I can tell you exactly where they end up by the way they are constructed. Great. A zombie who acts like a smarty pants. Your nose must be clogged, Sander said. The sewers? Really? It's the safest way to get to the school, Kendro claimed. He is right, Sander. I would rather reek than be dead, Sally agreed. Okay, fine, but you better know where you're going. I don't feel like being stuck in such a disgusting place. Don't you worry about that, Kendro said. Once they were on the right street, they opened a hatch that took them to the sewers. It was pitch black, but Sander had a flashlight from his backpack. He found it in the supermarket, and luckily it was working. They went on and on, turning left and right until they came to what Kendra called the sewer closest to the school. They went up, looked around them. Yes, he was right. How did he do that? I helped with the construction of some of these sewers. Here in Fang City, there are all kinds of little side jobs. I helped out in the sewers. Did you do anything like that? Kendra asked. I babysat 3 kids every weekend, Sally said. There were 2 boys and a girl. The boys were a lot of fun, and the girl was still little. I wonder what happened to them. I still don't know why we haven't checked on our own families yet. Because we've been in danger all that time, Sanders said. Survival is the first priority. We will figure it out later. I hope they are okay. They climbed up and went to the high school. Let's be extra careful, Sander whispered, because this is where it all started. There must be tons of zombies around here. Chapter 7. The Experiment. They snuck into the high school, where they maneuvered their way through the hallways. One of the zombies looked so ugly and vicious that Sally almost made a sound, but fortunately, Sanders saw what was about to happen and covered her mouth with his hand. Don't make a sound, he whispered. We are almost there. They don't know we are here until we make a sound, just like in the supermarket. The trio went into the lab. There they saw the mess that came because of Professor Krieger's failed experiment. They looked everywhere. It was like a needle in a haystack. Papers were all over the floor, thousands of them. Fluids were leaking everywhere, and the appliances, glass, and furniture were all over the floor. There were even a few corpses bleeding and making it messier than it already was. This might be something, Kendra said. Yeah, what is it? Professor Krieger's journal. It shows the process he went through. Let's see. Krieger read out loud from the journal. I have been experimenting to make a potion that could make people invincible. I know which substances and formulas to apply, but I am afraid it won't only turn humans into invincible creatures, but that it will also strip them of their humanity, thus having the desired effect but having a worthless side effect that may deteriorate the human race. I am reluctant to try it out on myself, not so much because of what could happen to me, but because of the consequences for others. Oh well, whatever. They hate me. They ridicule me. They don't care what happens to me, and I don't care if anything happens to me. I am going to try it. Just as a precaution, if anything dramatic or apocalyptic were to happen, just know that the effects of these transformations can most likely be undone by using the device on my desk. It sends an active, high-frequency signal that cannot be heard by humans, but has a lasting impact on the brains of those transformed by this formula. It should do the trick if my calculations are accurate. Here I go. For humanity. Wow. Sanders, Sally, and Kendra stared at each other for a few seconds. Was it really going to be that simple? Chapter 8. Looking Forward. Suddenly, the door made a noise. One of the zombies had seen them and tried to get in. Well, if we are going to try it, Sanders said, we'd better do it fast. Now! I'm on it, Kendra said, as he leaped over the desk and grabbed the device the professor had written about. Watch out! Sally yelled, pointing to a zombie that jumped through the classroom window. Sander fired his AK-47. Got him! But as he did that, the door behind him opened up, and a female zombie grabbed him, opening up her mouth to bite him. Bam! What was that? Sally shot the female zombie in the face. He is my man, you ugly wench, Sally said, as if she was copying a one-liner from an action movie. Nice job, Sanders said with a smile. Thank you for saving my life. You do the same for me, Sally said. Like my style? I know how to kill the competition. Ha ha! The hordes were still coming. There were at least 20 zombies in the hallway now. Hurry up already, Sander shouted at Kendro. We are going to die if you don't do something. Just trying to figure this thing out, Kendro replied. The zombies were coming closer every second. It was as if everything happened in slow motion. Sander and Sally were firing their guns like never before, but the hordes overpowered them. Both of them were knocked to the ground, as well as their guns, having several zombies climb on them who tried to punch them down even more and bite them. Aha! I got it! Kendro shouted. Sander was about to lose his face by a zombie with a drooling mouth when the zombies stopped. The crazy look in their eyes had disappeared. They started looking around and stare at the environment they were in. Sander didn't wait a second and punched the one on top of him in the face. Ouch! Why did you do that? Sander and Sally looked at each other and began to smile. It seemed like the device had worked. The frequency transfigured the zombies' brains. The zombies in the classroom weren't zombies anymore. They were simply people in rags and with dirty faces, wondering what had happened and why they were there. Sorry, Sander said to the former zombie. Just had to blow off some steam. Don't worry about it. We'll explain it later. Thanks, Kendro. You are the man. Sally got up and embraced Sander. Sander, she stammered. What is it, Sally? Sander asked. Do you remember that day of the explosion in the classroom, the day before it all started? Sally asked. Of course, Sander said. Who wouldn't? Well, Sally continued, I was about to ask you something, but then we both got distracted. What is it? Sander asked. I was wondering if I could give you a kiss, Sally said. Sander said as he became a little red. He had developed some feelings for Sally in the process of the whole zombie apocalypse, although he had always failed to admit it. Now he was confronted with what he had been denying for so long. Okay, Sander said in a shaky voice. Sally bent forward and kissed him for a few seconds. This is the first of many, she said, as her entire face lit up. The end.